Rewind the clock 10 years to a time when self-driving cars were a novelty and your phone's assistant was, well, let's just say it was less assistant and more amusing gimmick. But even back then, hidden in plain sight, a few lone voices were sounding an alarm. They were the pioneers, the visionaries, the ones who saw the blueprint of our future in the lines of code they were writing. They weren't screaming about robot overlords or dystopian futures ripped from a movie script. Their warnings were more subtle, more profound. They talked about the displacement of jobs, the ethics of autonomous decision-making, the potential for bias to be baked into algorithms at a massive scale, and the very real possibility of creating something we couldn't fully control or understand. They spoke at quiet conferences, wrote in academic journals, and gave interviews that barely made a ripple in the mainstream news cycle. Most people just shrugged. It all sounded like science fiction. It was a problem for another generation, another time. Well, guess what? That time is now. We are that generation. What they predicted is no longer a distant possibility. It's our daily reality. From the art we create, to the news we consume, from the way we apply for jobs, to the medical diagnoses we receive. Artificial intelligence is now woven into the very fabric of our society. The conversations they tried to start a decade ago are now exploding everywhere because the consequences of ignoring them are staring us right in the face. Think about it. We're grappling with deep fakes that can blur the line between truth and fiction. We're debating the ownership of AI-generated art. Companies are replacing entire departments with automated systems, forcing a massive conversation about the future of work itself. These aren't hypothetical scenarios anymore. They are today's headlines. We're living in the world they warned us about. The footage you see from 10 years ago isn't a history lesson, it's a prologue. The warnings weren't a prediction of doom. They were a plea for preparation. They urged us to build guardrails, to have the difficult ethical conversations before the technology outpaced our ability to manage it. But we didn't listen. We were too busy being dazzled by the magic of it all. So, where do we go from here? The first step is to acknowledge that this isn't science fiction anymore. It's reality. We can't put the genie back in the bottle, but we can learn to steer its power. It's on us to pick up the conversation where those early pioneers left off. We need to become informed, demand transparency, and advocate for responsible development. We need to ask the hard questions about fairness, accountability, and control. The past decade was defined by our collective failure to listen. Let's make sure the next decade is defined by our collective action to get it right. The future isn't written yet, and this time, we all need to be part of the conversation. Thanks for watching. If this topic interests you, and you want to explore more about the impact of technology on our world, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We've got a lot more to discuss. See you in the next one.